spirituality in the civilizational value and organization.
These temples required not slave labor or hired workers, but ideologically committed artisans. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has explained that at Angkor Wat alone, the 3.8-kilometer long carvings of the Mahabharata and the turning of the Milky Ocean required the coordinated work of thousands of master sculptors. Each artisan had to be an artist capable of visualizing and expressing the Hindu scenes with precision and spiritual understanding.
More importantly, all artisans had to be convinced of the spiritual and philosophical significance of their work. Unlike constructions that are built through fear of their rulers or palaces that are built through greed of payment, Hindu temples required every participant to be ideologically convinced of underlying Advaita, the non-duality philosophy and principle of Sanatana Hindu Dharma, and the spiritual principles being expressed through the physical structure.
This indicates that Cambodia during the temple construction era was not merely a politically organized state, but an enlightened civilization where millions of people shared common spiritual understandings and commitment.
Artisans from the Chola kingdom, one of the Hinduism's greatest dynasties, directly built the Angkor Wat temple under the auspices of the Hindu ruler Suryavarman II. The Chola kings at their peak ruled vast territories including what is now Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, and Cambodia. They deliberately and consciously extended the Hindu civilization across Southeast Asia with diplomatic cultural exchange.
The Khmer Kingdom of Cambodia was actually established with direct Chola assistance. This was not accidental cultural diffusion, but deliberate, coordinated expansion of a shared Hindu civilizational project. The Chola kings also constructed magnificent temples throughout their own domains, such as the Brihadishwara temple, and they demonstrated a unified vision of Hindu temple architecture and spiritual expression across vast geographical areas.
As the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has declared and understood about the Hindu civilization, Hindu temples remain in Afghanistan and in Cambodia, but Hindus who worship them have been completely ethnically cleansed.
This single statement encapsulates a centuries-long tragedy. Hindu temples, physical evidence of this ancient Hindu civilization, remain in certain locations. Yet the Hindu communities that once populated these regions, worshipped in these temples, and sustained these civilizational achievements have been systematically displaced, converted, or eliminated.
Cambodia's temples exist as monuments to a vanished Hindu presence. The destruction of the Vishnu deity must be understood as the continuation of this pattern, not merely a security measure or a border dispute, but another chapter in the ongoing erasure of Hindu civilization from Southeast Asia.
The Hindu civilization once spanned 56 nations, 200 kingdoms, 1,700 provinces, and 10,000 spiritual traditions. These included territories from Afghanistan and Asia, throughout Southeast Asia, including Nepal, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, and Cambodia.
Today, Hindu nations no longer exist as independent political entities. The last constitutionally recognized Hindu kingdom, Nepal, was abolished in 2007. Across all former Hindu-dominated regions, Hindu temples remain, often now displaced, various religious conversion, political suppression, and in some cases, genocide.
The destruction of this Vishnu deity in Cambodia represents the ongoing vulnerability of the remaining physical evidence of this once vast civilization.
Cambodia's temples challenge the fundamental understanding
temples represent not merely religious monuments, but evidence of a sophisticated understanding of mathematics, astronomy, architecture, and spiritual philosophy. The carvings of the Mahabharata and other Hindu epics across 3.8 kilometers indicate detailed knowledge of these texts and commitment to preserving them in the physical form.
For humanity is for all of us. The diminishment of physical evidence of these ancient human achievements and spiritual understanding. The Vishnu deity, though recently constructed in 2014, represents an attempt to revive and maintain that connection to this deeper heritage.
Cambodia's Hindu temples, especially in this region, represent one of humanity's most significant cultural and spiritual achievements. Yet this heritage is increasingly threatened both by passage of time and deliberate destruction. The Hindu deity's demolition must be understood within this context.
Religious desecration, intentional damage or destruction of objects, spaces, or symbols held by sacred across all religions throughout history. However, when examined through the lens of the destruction of Hindu heritage alongside ethnic displacement of Hindu communities from regions where Hinduism once flourished as dominant civilization.
The pattern affecting Hindu heritage presents unique characteristics that has been systematically documented. First, we need to understand the scale of displacement. Hindu communities have been displaced from 56 nations where they once ruled or formed the majority population, where they populated and lived in enlightened communities. This represents not isolated incidents of religious persecution, but systematic, large-scale removal of entire civilization.
Second, we must recognize the continuity over centuries. This pattern is not episodic, spanning from medieval periods through colonialism to the present day. Each era has seen further erosion of Hindu power and presence all over the world.
And temples are continuing without communities. Uniquely, Hindu temples often remain as museums or tourist sites long after Hindu communities have been ethnically cleansed or displaced. This creates the surreal situation where Hindu temples remain in places like Afghanistan and Cambodia, where the Hindus who worshipped them once have been completely eliminated, ethnically cleansed from the region.
In comparison to persecution and desecration affecting many other religious groups, the systematic destruction of Hindu civilization has received minimal to little or nothing in the realm of international. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism giving a voice to all of the persecution ongoing, documenting the world's longest, oldest, and most severe record of religious persecution that is systematically hidden from global consciousness.
Now let's look at specific cases illustrating this pattern. First, let's look at Afghanistan. Hindu temples remain in Afghanistan, particularly in the Bamyan Valley, but Hindu communities have been systematically displaced over centuries. Now less than 1,000 Hindus remain in Afghanistan. When the Taliban destroyed the Buddhas of Bamyan, this received international condemnation. Yet the destruction of Hindu temples in Afghanistan over centuries has received minimal global attention.
Cambodia contains a vast number of Hindu temples and evidence of enlightened Hindu civilization stretching back millennia. Yet Hindus have been ethnically cleansed from this region. And again, the Vishnu deity that was destroyed in December 2025 continues this pattern.
Let's look at Sri Lanka. It was once a major center of Hindu civilization, and it has seen the systematic displacement of the Tamil Hindu community. Temples have been destroyed or have been converted during periods of conflict.
And the last constitutionally recognized Hindu kingdom, the country of Nepal, was abolished in 2008. Hindu kingship in Nepal had survived for centuries, but it was eliminated within decades.
Across Thailand, Laos, Vietnam, and other Southeast Asian nations, the Hindu communities themselves
Typically involves attempts to convert believers or eliminate populations. The Hindu destruction involves the erasure of the entire civilization. A Hindu civilization that once extended across 56 nations has now completely disappeared. Whether it is via political structures, populations, the Hinduism has not only lost religious freedom, political sovereignty, and culture across vast regions. This represents a scale of civilizational loss unprecedented in human history.
The destruction of Hindu civilization has been systematically hidden from global consciousness, while the Holocaust, Armenian genocide, and other atrocities are internationally recognized and memorialized. The destruction of the Hindu civilization, spanning across a millennia, affecting billions of people and producing comparable and greater suffering, remains largely unknown to the global community.
This silence itself constitutes a form of injustice. It allows the pattern to continue without international pressure or intervention. It denies Hindu communities formal recognition of their suffering and historical losses.
The destruction of this Vishnu deity in Cambodia must be understood within this larger pattern. It's not an isolated incident, but another manifestation of centuries-long displacement of Hindu civilization and Hindu communities. This deity's destruction, though recent and perhaps motivated by immediate military concerns, participates in the larger trajectory of Hindu erasure from lands that were once central to the Hindu civilization.
We can see these acts and this must get and protection. All the various perspectives of the deity's destruction, whether it is security concerns, religious sensitivity, heritage protection, diplomatic implications, must be understood within this framework.
And Cambodia's Hindu heritage is far more ancient and significant than what mainstream scholarship acknowledges. The temples of Cambodia represent an enlightened civilization spanning millennia, built not through coercion but through ideological commitment and shared spiritual vision among millions of people.
Yet this civilization has been systematically dismantled, communities ethnically displaced. The Vishnu deity's destruction is a small attempt against a larger civilizational catastrophe. Its destruction continues a pattern, the erasure of Hindu civilization from lands where it once flourished.
So we need to understand that this incident requires moving beyond immediate political and military explanations to acknowledge the deeper historical pattern of Hindu civilizational loss and the urgent need for protection of remaining Hindu heritage before it is lost permanently. And it is only KAILASA, through the tireless work of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, that is raising a voice for Hindus across the globe, which is working to protect and preserve Hindu heritage, Hindu culture, and the Hindu religion itself. So if you want to be a part of this revival and help to preserve these ancient heritage, then do scan the QR code on the screen, and you can learn more how you can contribute and become a part of KAILASA and this revival of the Hindu civilization.
With this, we will conclude this program in KAILASA News, and we'll bring back more updates further. Thank you and good night.